So we had the agenda item to talk about the master plan steering committee with
Yes.
Bob. I don't know if you wanted to say a little on that, because what was he going to talk about? He was going to say how we'd be working with the working group.
Yeah, mostly it's to kind of resurrect the remnants of said working group, kind of dust off and see what remains, what's still actionable and what's a little bit out of date. Again, I know Bob had specific questions. He didn't elucidate me on those questions, so I can't parrot them back. But he does want to dust off and pick up from where we left off from the last time that the action group was active. But with that in mind, I know he does have you guys had the chance to review the neighborhood study as well, the visibility study? Have you guys had a chance to review that? If not, I'll make sure.
That's what the survey is saying?
Correct, yeah. It's got that built into it.
So last I heard about it was that we were waiting for the results still, because I think whoever conducted it was had some issue or something. So there was a delay. So I haven't seen or heard about it. Fair
enough. I'll pin down whatever's kind of hanging on that, and I'll make sure to share it with the rest of you guys.
Yeah, that would be great.
Definitely. That's why I'm here. But I do know that was one of the more pressing items that he had for everybody there, just to make sure that you're all on the same page.
Because that's the results of the survey that we reviewed, and we gave comments.
We reviewed the questions before it went out.
So if nothing else, I'll pin down some of those moving targets, and I'll make sure to share it with you guys once I have more stuff to act on. Aside from that, those are the major discussion items I really wanted to have Bob kind of clarify here. And as he's not here, we'll have to move on from that, I'm afraid. But aside from that, everything with the master plan is moving very well. But there's still that working group that really needs to have at least a little bit more of a deliverable to present to the rest of the to BSC, so they can accommodate our goals within the draft that they're currently constructing. So that's something that we'll have to pin down after we address all of the current agenda items tonight. We don't have to do it tonight, but something we should start at least marinating on for the future, if that makes sense. That's it.
Okay, so next on the agenda was the wreath debrief.
Yes.
I personally still need to, like, what I've done in the past is taken all the donators and put an article and the independent thanking them, like just a letter to the editor. And then also same thing on Facebook. So I know you sent me a list, and you said maybe you were waiting for one or two more. And I think you might even send me an email. So maybe you could send me that final list.
Sure. We did get a couple stragglers. By the end of the day, we got a total of 15 sold in all, across a total of 10 different folks that purchased.
Okay.
And I'll share that document with you there, but we netted in revenue a total of $450. And I'll go over also, I sent an email out earlier regarding one of the reimbursement items for zip ties. That one there, of course, we are able to reimburse costs. Thankfully, we were able to present that item. We'll deal with this later, but we can't reimburse sales tax. So that'll cost the poor volunteer about $5. I think exactly $5. So just keep that in mind. We can reimburse everything up to, but not including sales tax, pesky regulations and all.
For Amy on the Reese, that's more, for the zip ties, that wasn't a lot. For the Reese, where it's like 1,000, that ends up being a lot, I guess.
Well, it ended up, let's see, what's 7.5% of 1,000? That'd be what, $15 thereabouts? It's $14.50.
That was 50. Oh, I was just going off the math of what mine was.
Not to
Yeah,
worry.
it'd be 60, 70.
But where's that money coming from?
Well, it's that we had a standing budget already built into the EDC, and we also have revenue generated from the REITs themselves. So I do have that. Hang on a quick second.
Yeah, so I was going to ask that. Like, so clearly the wreath is coming out of the wreath fund. Should the zip ties, I assume, should come out of there as well?
Yeah, they were affiliated, literally attached to the same project.
Yeah. Yep.
So that makes pretty clear, cogent sense. The remaining budget left over from the 2022 season sat at $1,190.13, and that's before the revenue that we generated from the REITs themselves, which was $450 in aggregate. So total, we ended up at $1,640.13. With the
And then
grant is 1160.13.
So you're taking 1160 off of that 1500.
Yes, that would
Yeah.
leave us with the rate that I discussed there. So yeah, 400. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I'm going off of
Cool.
presently. And when I speak with Ninochka in the morning, actually I'm not in tomorrow, so Wednesday rather. When I speak with Ninochka on Wednesday, I'll make sure that all of this stuff is nailed down and all the AP and AR items are sent out. Yeah.
Is that because it's kind of like what the fund is for? We don't have to have a vote to approve that amount?
No,
Or
no,
should-
it's all administrative. That
Okay.
stuff I can do in-house. Thankfully, the REITs they've already submitted the invoice, effectively what is an invoice for the REITs. I just wanted to make it known that we can't reimburse for sales tax. It breaks my heart,
Yeah.
but we can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if, not to derail the dialogue at all, but so for future purchase, I mean, if it's a $50 purchase, whatever. But for future purchases, the fund should be paying it directly. Now, can the fund pay sales tax, or is it only if a member purchases something and seeks reimbursement?
This is a bit of kind of minutia here, but if it's an individual looking to seek reimbursement for an item, or a service, it cannot include sales tax. However, if the board as a body sought to expend monies for that, then it would work. Then it would work differently. So going forward, if the $5 is really that much of a hair worth splitting, we can change the order.
No, it's more about the Reese, not the.
Yeah, as I say, I don't think
It's a
anyone's
matter
getting
of
bothered over a
speed.
couple of bucks, but if someone was,
Exactly.
75 bucks out of pocket on the Reese
Yeah.
would be.
Exactly. I am.
Well,
That's
I'm just wondering, like, and maybe I'm just not understanding, but I didn't pay for anything. They just sent the invoice right to the town.
Exactly. And I actually
yeah.
have said invoice right.
So do I owe money or?
No, I think he was talking about the zip ties.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just
that's
talking about the zip ties only.
Okay.
So I have the.
Yeah,
the
just for
bulletin
future
invoice
reference,
right.
no one should make a 5-figure purchase on behalf of the group.
Yeah, that would. probably
Zip
be,
ties are okay, just don't do the Reese.
Yes, small bits of
Gotcha.
plastic, fine. 5-figure anything, let's talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
It's funny that the government takes taxes, but they won't reimburse it.
It's a
interesting.
bug or a
Yeah.
feature, I don't know, but it is what it is, right? I do agree it is a bit arcane and more than a wee bit silly, but here we are. So yeah,
Anyway.
that's where we currently sit there. So those can be processed administratively. Everything else I'm kind of thinking out loud, forgive me. Those can be processed administratively. I'll speak with the Nochka the day after tomorrow, and those should be well and good on their way. Okay.
So in general, I think they looked really good. Were the
Yeah,
bows
they're
intended
still
to?
up though. When are they coming down?
I was gonna say, were the bows intended to be on the bottom or the top?
I was putting them on like it was the bottom the whole time I was doing it. So I don't know if they redid all of them or what, but they look great either way.
When I
'Cause
the
my
next
son
time I
was
see
like-
Randy, I'll ask and see when they're actually coming down. Given that it's well into the new year, I think it's about time. So,
Yeah, in the past, it's, we've set some records like end of February.
Oh my God.
But
And my
we're trying to
Christmas
Valentine's
lights
Day,
avoid
that's the
fall out,
time.
so I'm not judging.
God.
Until the first snow, it's over 2 inches. That hasn't happened.
I can remember. Okay, yeah, I'll reach out with Randy and I'll see what we can do. And if nothing else, just kind of poke him to remind him that they need to come down. If nothing
Yeah,
else.
they may not even notice them.
Probably not. They have plenty of items. DPW, they're not on fire right now, but they have a lot of stuff to process with the seasons changing and everything else.
Mhm.
Good thing there's no snow for them to process.
Yeah. But I'll make sure that the next time I see Randy, I'll kind of poke him and remind him about that.
Great. I think that's it on that. I really need to thank all the people, so I'll get that out. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll get that to you probably like in the next, probably 5 minutes after the meeting here ends, if that's all right.
yeah, that's perfect.
Sure.
Did anybody else have anything else on the wreath? I only showed up for about like 10 minutes between things, but you guys did a great job putting them
It
all
was nice
together.
to
the
have so
bows
many
and stuff.
people helping. It went quickly.
Much
Yeah.
faster this year, for sure. My
Mhm.
fingers didn't feel like they're gonna fall off by the end of it. Like the year before.
Many hands and light work. I apologize, I wasn't there too.
No, that's okay. It was good though. Thank you.
It also helped to only have to do one zip tie instead of tying two together. That was nice.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, because I remember
All
you
the
saying
things we
before they
learn
were too
each year that
short.
we do this.
Wow, I cut the work in half, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Well, yeah, I think, I think people appreciate it and it definitely looks nice, so
Agreed.
we'll
agreed.
continue doing it. All right, so we'll move on. We talked about the reimbursements. So also for reimbursements, not necessarily adopt a poll, but I know that Amy she sent, did you just send that to me, Amy?
Yeah.
Um,
I
let me-
don't know if
could
I
pull it up.
CC Todd.
I could pull it up, but we can approve the amount. Let me just pull it up. So Amy created an EDC banner
great.
that she had at Backyard Bolton, and we could use it multiple events. It's a generic banner and it looks really nice. She
Yeah,
did a great job, or your assistant did a great job. One of you guys did a great job.
Oh, was
Not
that
me.
the Vistaprint item? I'm so sorry to interrupt. Was that the
Yeah.
Vistaprint? Gotcha, okay.
Oh, so did you send that to Todd
I
then?
remember.
I think I sent it to
remember-
Todd, but if
remember-
not, I can.
I think I've got it in my inbox. It
Here, I
just
see it.
popped up, yeah.
Okay.
I see it. Let me
What was
see if I,
what was the total expense for that? I'm curious.
yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
I think I deleted the email.
It was, well, so you said we can't pay for tax. Can we reimburse shipping?
Yes, I believe so. What I would do, just send the entire invoice over to me. And then when I discuss it over with the finance team, they'll kind of clarify, because that's their lane far more than it is mine.
Okay.
Okay, well, so I would like to approve the amount so she could just get reimbursed offline. So it looks like it's 83.82 minus 493, so that'd be 78.89. So I guess just if we can have a vote.
So you can make the motion. You can make the motion to approve the reimbursement of the EDC banner from the Vistaprint vendor,
Yep.
and then with the amount as determined by the finance team or town.
Okay, sure.
That's an easier catch-all kind of way to go about it.
All right, well, I can't make the motion, but I could put out there.
To approve.
Yeah,
I second.
all right, all in favor?
Thank you. My kids will not go
Thank you.
hungry.
I am presuming it is unanimous then?
Yeah,
Any opposed?
unanimous. No, we
I
want to
have
close
that
this
at my
down.
house, so if we need it, I
Yeah,
just
it's
have it in my
perfect.
closet.
Yeah, it's
Make
good.
sure you don't use it for any personal solicitation, however.
If you figure out a way to do that, let us know. Okay.
And then also along those lines, I paid for I think $70 in marketing on social media for Backyard Bolton. So if
Sure.
you guys can vote to approve that.
Do you happen to have the receipt for it? Or
I
the
do,
invoice?
yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
All right, I'll make the motion to reimburse Eric for Facebook advertising expenses, subject to finance committee approval on the amount.
That-
All right.
Great, unanimous, all in favor? Aye.
Yep.
All right, great. That's good. I also, I paid for, I gave the musicians some money kind of as a big tip, but it's just cash, so.
Always tip the musicians. I've played enough weddings where I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, yeah,
I was a music student way back in the day, and I played enough wedding and bar and bat mitzvahs to really appreciate that.
yeah. The musicians, they had fun at the
Yeah, I
event.
think it's
laid
nice to
back.
have the music. It kind of
Yeah.
adds to the.
Right.
Got to pay off those piano lessons somehow, right?
And they all preferred cash. I was like, would you want to invoice Bolton Town Hall and get
Here's a
Uh,
napkin.
cash.
Can you write me a receipt?
huh?
That's right. That's right. Just
Then here's a
napkin.
napkin. Can you write me a receipt?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That could be binding in a court. Just saying. It could.
All right, great. Let's see.
So is there anything we can do about that to
No,
reimburse?
it's fine. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Let's see. Lost my agenda.
discuss and plan event schedule. That's the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, great. So a few main things we need to talk about. One, we were going to talk about like a social, and then the other one was backyard Bolton. So maybe we'll start with the social events, since I know Amy and Sean went to the events at the International for the golf tournament, and everybody seemed very interested in them. I don't know if you want to talk at all about that, either of you.
Yeah, I would just say a lot of the business owners and landowners in town showed up, and I think they all enjoyed just an opportunity to all get together and talk about what's going on. And I think Liv did a really good job of bringing everyone together, and kind of it had a community feel to it that I feel like we haven't been able to do that type of event. And if we were able to do more of that, I think we could have more of a community amongst our business and landowners in town. One example was I was talking to the guy, Frank, who owns all the land down by the dump. And I think Amy, you were part of that conversation as well. He said he'd love for us to go, tour that property and do a little video and talk about kind of the art of the possible with that land. And so if we can sort of get to know these people a little bit more, I think more opportunities like that will open up for us to step in.
I mean, actually, that would be amazing. I wasn't even thinking of that, but if we could do, I know we had like videos with current businesses, but even with landowners, like what they were thinking.
Yeah, what they're thinking. He came up to us to kind of corner us and let us know that he would want that. So it's
Right.
on my list, my never ending list of things I want to do, but I think we should, but no, I think, and I had a couple of people come up to me and say that this was really great. And, they said like, this is the kind of thing that we would like to see the EDC do. They even kind of voiced that. So I do think there is demand for it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Actually, I was in Slater's the other day and I was talking to Bruce, and he said that he would love to host it. He said that like a good night would be like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, since that's like the least busy evening. He's like, he even said he would throw out some food for it or whatever, but we have a budget, so we could pay for some food.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, even if it were I don't know what time people get done with work here, but on the earlier side, so it could be almost like a
5 to 6
after work, kind of grab a piece of pizza and a beer or something, and before you head home, so that it's not so much of a.
Yeah, you probably don't want to have it too late, because then you're interfering with family time. But yeah, like 5 to 6 or something like that is probably good.
Just like a little social
Depends
hour.
on your family.
Say it again, Sean.
As I depend on your family, like how old they are. Like it's
Yeah,
6,
I
7,
can-
7:30. I'm game. It's there.
I
Well-
may or may not have celebrated the last holiday because all the family I wanted to show up was there.
we could send out an email to some people.
Well, I
and see
think
what
that's kind of my question, I guess, is Dan Gaffney had sort of orchestrated this whole thing, and he obviously knows a lot of people in town, so he had reached out to some businesses. But in order to make sure that everyone is included and knows about it, what would be the best? I don't want to just put something out on Facebook, because then you have like all kinds of.
Yeah. Well, so
I
we
think
have.
Dan Gaffney's list is a good starting point. Like if
Well,
we could get that list from him that he used to coordinate those events with Liv, we could just add to that. Like that's not going to have Baba Sushi or Baba in the Legacy Kitchen and like the newer places in town on it, I would imagine.
Well, so this is something, like we have that email list that Todd, you have access to, that you sent out for the Reese. Maybe we should review that list.
I did keep a. I'm sorry to interrupt. I did keep a mental list that's tied to the ones that came back as bad emails, effectively the ones that bounced. And I went ahead and removed those from the list that I had. So if nothing else, we'll be able to, at least I know that those are veritable, true emails.
Yeah.
I don't know how active they are or how well they're read, but I can at least say they won't bounce. I can say that.
Would we be focusing more on, kind of brick and mortar type businesses, or are we thinking just all businesses?
I think in-home is fine too.
Yeah.
I would say open it up to the backyard Bolton list of people, at least in Bolton. We don't have to do they're
Yeah,
out,
right.
but
Mhm.
Well,
Right.
and people like Craig Bovit, like the guy who bought the land down by the common, those two buildings that have the kitchen sink. Like
Yeah,
people like that
sure.
should be included
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, landowners, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think the more the merrier. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what the turnout will be, but I think it would be good. And there's like nature and nurture. I don't even know if they're on that list, but they're
Yeah.
new. And Libby Haresh is brand new. She's gonna have an acupuncturist business in that
Mhm.
building. So
So we
Yeah, yeah.
have
I
like,
saw
we
that
have,
business certificate. We approved that business certificate.
good,
we
good. I'm
have,
glad
we have the master business list, which is kind of like a disaster. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how, it's just so many things. A lot of them is not real businesses. It's not even in Bolton, but
Yeah, I know that.
we
I
should-
think
we
that
should-
kind
we
of
should-
keep talking about how it's
Let's
good to
clean
get-
it up. Like, let's
Well,
have that be
what
an
we should
agenda
do-
item on our next meeting or something.
I think what we should do is we should, cultivate and clean up our basic contact list.
Mhm.
Email what the business is, the landowner, business, home, and like just a clean list of people we would want to contact.
Yeah, that's one of those items where having an accurate business inventory of any municipality, it's one of those deceptively simple concepts. One of the
Yeah.
things that it should not be difficult, much like counting the number of housing units in a town. It
Yeah.
sounds like a very simple topic. It's deceptively hard. One of the ways that I found is an easy way to ascertain how many active businesses are in a small region or within a small municipality is to contact, if anything else, business to business marketing firms. Because if anyone will know where the businesses are, it's the folks that are looking to market to them, right? So that's a way that we can reach out. I can at least make some calls and see if there are any folks that are willing to share their data with the community itself. Some will, some won't. I've had mixed results in my career thus far doing that, but at least it's a place to start, and I can start doing that as well.
But yeah,
Well,
so
they- Oh, sorry, I don't.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if we could start with that email list. I don't even know if you know where they're all going, or if it's just like cut and paste.
A
But-
lot of it's cut and paste. There's some that always slip through the cracks because some of the folks are, for example, that apply for a business certificate. They want that to, for example, start up a checking account in the business's name, but it's based off of an in-home hobby and it doesn't ever really get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Hobby level,
So
but it
that's,
still counts as an entry. But is it really a valid entry? Not quite. So it's a little nebulous.
so
Is
that's
there any reason we couldn't just like develop a small little like vendor card? Like who's the
That's what I was
contact,
gonna
address, phone number?
Start from scratch.
Category.
Here's the list of businesses. Who's the
Yeah,
primary
finance
contact for each one? And maybe we can fill in some that we already know, but it sounds like we might like a cleanup effort might be equal or more work than just starting from scratch. Like there's
Sure.
not that many businesses.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
town.
that would require, I'm in favor of doing it, but it would require some extra manpower. So that's something we could do. We could probably pull in some senior work off folks and see if we can use their labor to help do some of the drudgery of the whole thing. But that's something we can chase down.
Go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, I have access to MLS and I can pull up commercial.
Mhm.
And it pulls, I just did it and it pulls up every commercial building in town
Mhm.
and who the owner is, but it wouldn't pull up any in-home,
Exactly,
anyone
yeah.
in-home.
And there's a deceptive amount of in-home occupations and at-home businesses that do exist within normal scope of use. So that's something that I think the truth is probably in the middle. So we'll probably have to update and refresh the existing list we have while pulling in those that are of course not present on the list. And from there, we might be able to get ourselves some contact cards and get things connected in that way. So the truth's
yeah.
probably in the middle, I think.
I think, well, I was just gonna say, I think based on what we know and your email list, Todd, we could probably like have a good base, but then maybe like you said, Craig, maybe we can, create some contact thing or something to try to get the rest.
I've found in some of the other communities that I worked in, granted, the last municipality that did something similar was a region. It was 5 towns all conglomerated together. I found that the desire for perfect is the enemy of the good. It's very difficult to get every single in-home occupation, but we can get a large enough sample size that we can then determine and strategize based off of that information, right?
I mean,
And
being the
over time,
EDC,
find it.
we should have a solid contact list for exactly these reasons, and we just don't.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make everyone aware that it's a simple, elegant ask, but it's very hard to chase down perfection.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
I mean, no
So
one's
could we
gonna
get-
know if we're missing anyone except for us and the
Yeah.
person that missed. So, I mean, we just do our best to include everyone
Yeah.
that we can possibly think of. And then that's, that'll grow, right? I mean, they're gonna hear about it from someone. I imagine maybe we'll get a few contacts of people who go, hey, I didn't hear about this. So-and-so told me, and then we just add them to the list.
Exactly. And more folks tend to come out of the woodwork when they see that it's worth their time to reach out. So it kind of works. We kind of burn the candle at both ends and meet in the middle, right?
Can we get that old list and then combine, like get the new list and then combine it to see who's on both lists, and then have just like a big list, and then maybe divide within our group it up between, 20 names each or something, and just call them and
You do that. It's
Yeah,
a different way to the
still
same
a
place,
valid
but yeah,
business. And
But
if they'd
that's
be
what I was
interested-
getting at too, Amy. Yeah, like Todd, when you said there's a resource issue, you just saying like if we had to use like a town resource or something, is there any reason we couldn't just do it 5 or 6 of us?
we could. Yeah, we
Maybe
absolutely-
I'm dramatically underestimating how big the workload would be, but
it's I won't call it an inordinate amount of work, but it's a heavy ask. So yeah, let me review the list that we have here so I can go over the raw numbers, and then once I better ascertain exactly how big of a hill this is or a mountain this is to climb, then I'll be able to give you guys a better guidance as to what I've got time to do.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 20
I mean, even
to
if it's
30
like 200 names, it's like
right,
over the course
30,
of
40,
a
right.
couple weeks, we could call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At that point, we could divide and conquer that absolutely, or put it into a Google Docs sheet and have us all just
Grab
just
it as you
check
go.
off, and just peck away at it as you can,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and over time it'll kind of sharpen itself, right?
Yeah,
So there's multiple ways to the same place, and I think we're all going to be. I think we'll be all right.
All right.
I mean, I think that would be good, even once a year or whatever, we send out an email to that list and be like, hey, is there any concerns, issues you have? Any
Yeah, no, I think
thoughts?
it would be
Yeah.
very, very valid for us to have that. And I feel like we've been talking about this for like 3 years. So
We
Yeah.
could also put that on the
It's really
website.
been talked about since I joined. Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
should just do it.
Because like the website, the only thing lacking is really that it has like an updated vendor list, right? And we don't have that. So it serves a few purposes if we can get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
It's a really
I
good
guess
way to
along-
get some things. But, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
along those lines with, you just said like you got new business certificates and stuff. A while back, we created like welcome to Bolton letters that would automatically go out. We should
Mhm.
probably kick that off as well.
Sure, and put that with the clerk's office when they apply for a business certificate or something. like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, that would be great if it could automatically just go out.
Sure.
If you guys could manage it there.
Yeah, I can
I-
pull up one
we-
of
we
the
can-
ones and update it if you like.
I can send out what we had previously and you guys could review it and we could talk about it next meeting.
That would work.
Yeah.
Let me just write that down real quick.
I think that's one of the biggest things we could do is if we can make a bigger deal out of new businesses that are opening in town.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
did we
let them
do
know that
anything
it's-
with Bob? Like, Amy, did you do a Baba?
We
video?
haven't yet because she, we did reach out, Eric and I did, and she pushed back a little bit just because I feel like they were like overwhelmed when they first opened because everyone's been like anticipating. So she said kind of once they work the kinks out, she'd love for us to come and do, she seemed open to like a ribbon cutting.
That'd be
And I
great.
talked
It's been
to,
great so far. I've gotten takeout there twice and it was hard to find a parking spot both
Yeah,
times.
no, I think they've been doing really well. And I talked to Sarah Cressy, who's the Assabet Chamber head of it or whatever. And they do a lot of ribbon cuttings for businesses. They're mostly in Hudson, but they did like a new place that just opened. And she said she could help with that if we needed their assistance.
Cool.
Yeah, also, we talked about doing like a video or a tour
Yeah,
of
I
the
could do a
restaurant.
video too. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she seemed open to that, but yeah, they would, whoever, the person, what's her name? Sarah, that we were talking to, I
Sarah,
forget her name.
mhm.
She
Yeah, and
was
usually like Kate Hogan comes and
yeah. Mhm. So, okay, we kind of offshooted, but we were talking about events so we were talking about that social,
So
so
when would we want to do the event? Like March or?
That's what I was thinking, like
Mhm.
sometime in the middle of March or so.
Yeah.
We don't have the list, right? So is that?
Yeah,
I'm
step
all
one
for
step at
doing-
a time.
We will have the list by then.
Yeah,
Well, we need it at least probably like a few
Well-
weeks, ideally a month before the event, right?
We
to
have-
get
we-
people time to-
we have at least the wreath list, and that goes to a good chunk of businesses, and we could
Yeah,
probably
and
take a look at
and,
it.
Those live events were thrown together on pretty short notice.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
and both had a
I
decent.
think if we have the wreath event, the wreath list, and then we can kind of look through that and see who might be missing just.
Yeah, the
from
big,
what
any
we
big
know.
names.
Yeah.
And there, you
and,
have the backyard bowling participants, right? I went in the Google Doc, the contacts aren't in there. They're only old ones where.
Yeah, I have all their contacts, but like you said, a lot of them are, like I'd say half of Bolton people, so I can
Yeah,
get some out there for
somewhere
sure.
around probably like 10 to 15, right?
Yeah, there's more than that, I'm sure.
No, all right, so it's
Oh, how-
yeah, fairly good amount.
It's
How do
probably
we
at
get
least
the-
50.
How do we get the existing list into Google Docs as a starting point? Who can do that?
You give me the list, I can do it. I see.
What are you talking
I
about?
don't know
Which
who has
list?
them.
Are we just talking like transposing it into
Todd-
Google Docs? Or?
I think we're talking
And
about
so we can
Todd's
start working
email
on it,
list,
adding
right?
to it.
So Todd, you just like literally have like a blind copy list that you probably don't have even names connected to
I
emails, right?
believe that's what I've got.
Yeah.
It's been a good probably week and a half since I've looked
We
at it.
did have a list, Eric, though, when we were doing the master planning thing. Remember, like we were supposed to start doing this for that, calling them and
Yeah.
surveying them.
Yeah.
And then I think I got through like 3 people, but we did have like a list.
That's the master business list.
And it has
that's-
contacts on it.
Yeah, we have that list, which, has like Todd said, like people who took out certificates that really have nothing to do with Bolton necessarily. And we have the wreath list, which I think is probably a pretty solid list. We have my list, so we might just have to put them all in Google Docs and clean it up, I think.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna have to just kind of put all of them on there and then kind of distill it down
Yeah,
into something that's more.
My
accurate.
husband can do this thing where he like list compares and you can weed out all the things that don't match. So
Yeah.
we can
Right on.
task him with that.
So
So-
if he doesn't mind being an intern for an hour or so.
No, he does a lot of things, paperwork for me.
that's fine.
yeah, so I don't know, I guess I'll put, I'll kind of create a group with all of us. I know that Sean, I don't know if Sean Woods is on my Google Docs, but I know that Sean Searle and Amy are.
I'm not on it yet.
Yeah. So I'll add everybody's email to that, and then I guess we can all upload, we can upload those lists, and then like Amy and Todd were saying, we could just start picking away at it. If we're all working on the same document, that would be good, because then you could just clean it up and it has history. You could see who did what.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so if we wanted to do Slater's once, we could talk about places to do it. But he was saying like a Tuesday or a Wednesday evening would be good.
Wendy's barn would be fun in the spring, summer months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, yeah. Maybe a non-busy night at Baba Sushi, but I don't think that's actually a thing.
I think they're gonna be busy for quite a ways out.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we'll kick that off, and maybe in our early February meeting, we can pick a date in like middle of March, and that should be good enough time, I think, to give people heads up. So on Backyard Bolton, so we always do, like 2 in August, or 2 towards the end of August, staying away from the Bolton Fair, and then after Labor Day we have it in September. And to me it seemed like we weren't counting people, but it seemed like it was a little bit less people each time, and they were pretty condensed this time, and even like the 2 in August were right next to each other. So I don't think there's enough turnover of vendors to really like bring people in, and that's kind of why like some people say, oh, you should do this all summer or weekly, but I just don't think there's enough people in the area to support it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that it would be good to break it up a little bit. I mean, I know that I've said like maybe we keep 2 in that time frame, maybe late August and September, and do one in the spring. And then we also talked about doing one in like December. But I know that people in town have talked to me, trying to organize something in the spring to do like a seedling sale. So I was wondering if we did like a spring event, like bring one of the August ones into May, and also have that kind of like an early, like a, you know, an early season seedling sale as well to, you know, so that would work out. And then if we did move one to December, we'd have to find an indoor place, like maybe Emerson Gym or something like that. But also Lisa from the Parks and Rec was saying that she would like to coordinate something with vendors for the tree lighting. I'm not sure how it would work in the cold and the weather, but yeah, so that's an option too. So I guess I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on those.
No, those are good thoughts. I think breaking it up over the summer is probably a wise idea. Again, I strolled through one, and obviously I wasn't involved in the group, so I don't have a ton of insight from that perspective. But I have had an antique booth space in an antique shop for like 7 years, and in that industry, they very much promote early summer, late spring for outside activities, because by the time August rolls around, a lot of the, like, look at Brimfield and all those type of outdoor vendor markets. They're generally all early because people are getting ready for school shopping. They're reducing their budgets. The weather is either getting too rainy and gross, or if it's in August, it's potentially oppressively hot. So that May to June is where probably 70% of the outdoor market money changes hands.
Yeah, and I think the heat's a factor too. Like young families and elderly are probably less likely to come when it's, you know, August and 95 and sunny. And like I don't think the alpaca guys brought the alpaca once because it was too hot. I think the pony was there 1 or 2 of the days. But you know, some of the stuff that attracts kids, which would attract more people, probably makes sense to do in more comfortable weather.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with August is people are still away on vacation. And then when September hits, it's like soccer. So there's just a lot going on at that time. So I definitely think
if we mix it up, it'll make it more like when we first had it, like the first couple of times, it was like fun and novel. And so this might, you know, changing it up a little bit would probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone might be more likely to go to all 3 if they're more spread out. Like
that's what I was thinking.
I'm not going to 3 weekends in a row of
right. Exactly.
Personally, but if it's one in the spring, one in the summer, one in the fall, or you know, however we mix it up, I'd probably go to all 3. Just something to do. You know?
Yeah, and I could see it. Yeah, this year more than any. I'm not sure. During the COVID year, actually, it seemed like people were just happy to do anything.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They were like, oh my God, something's happening. Let's go.
Especially outdoors.
Yeah. But this past year, people had options to do other things. And I think they probably went and did them after they went once.
That's fair, I think.
So I started a conversation with a couple of people that have brought up to me, like when they would want to sell them. And they were saying like early May-ish. So I'll talk to them a little bit more. Because another issue with we did the Backyard Bolton Farmers Market because we thought we would have all these produce vendors and stuff, but it just didn't work out that way. It's turned more into like, you know, a product kind of fair, I guess. Just because like the local farms have their farm stand, and if they are going to go to a market, it's more towards Boston. They feel like it's not worth their time to have, you know, 2 stands. So it's hard to get
a lot of work to move 500 pounds of produce.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I stopped even calling it farmers market. I've just been calling it Backyard Bolton. But I think we could maybe get that more backyard feel, because I know there's a bunch of people on Facebook around May who have kind of like a seedling business. I see a lot of chit chat about it, so it might be good.
I think if we had it like the very first week, like before Mother's Day, you'd get people, you know, coming to get a candle or whatever too for their mom.
That's
jewelry.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, so it's like January, and I know like I start like, typically when do we, for August, I start in like April or May, so that's, 4 or 5 months. So if we are gonna do,
you gotta start now.
yeah, gotta start now.
It becomes
So I
like-
think what I'll do is I'll send an email out to all the vendors that I typically email to and say that's what we're thinking, just to see what they think.
Mhm.
Sure.
And then maybe we can like finalize a date by next meeting.
We could even, do we usually send them out to like, the Bolton, like Artisan Guild people?
Yeah, a bunch of them are on my list, like,
Are they? Okay, because
How-
that would
how-
be, if we could combine the two. That
yeah,
would be good.
a lot of them, like Holly Martin Lawler and why can't I think of her name? Yvette Monstead.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't remember
Yeah,
all the
no, I'm
names,
sure.
so-
I just wanted to throw that out there.
But yeah.
Baba Ghoul, right? Isn't that the big one?
Baba Cool, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Baba Ghoul.
Her work's
Yeah.
amazing, by the way.
Her stuff's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll send that email out and see what the temperature is for doing that. I think people kind of did feel that like it kind of was going downhill a little bit in sales. So I think, like you said, Amy, changing it up probably is a good thing.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Do they pay for it for like the whole season, or is it, $25 each week?
We don't charge anything.
Great.
Oh, there you go.
We try to keep our costs like
I was able
zero.
to do some reps at the full 40 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
I think whoever Kristen's iPhone in needs to mute us.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was
No
off
problem.
mute.
No
Better, right?
problem.
It's better,
Shit, sorry.
Who?
It's never mind.
right?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh, she muted it. Okay.
They can add something if they want. It's free. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, we don't charge anything. Like I know at one point, like people like, I think the selectmen talked about, do you need a police detail? And then, it's definitely not a money-making business, so, and I think people appreciate kind of like our whole thought of doing it when we started, it was more of just like a hang, kind of like come in, meeting people, more of a community event than
Mm.
like a business profit,
This is not a
Yeah,
pecuniary.
no, that's
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
I was gonna say, whatever we were charging, make an incentive to have them pay for all the weeks up front.
Yeah, I mean, and some of
We're
those,
not
like,
charging anything, that's tough to do.
I know to go to like the Clinton Old Home thing, it costs like $1,000 to have a booth there. I mean, it's a lot of money. So people appreciate, even if they don't, it's too much pressure to
I was gonna say,
charge
at least
people
there's
money.
less, like, if they come, they come. If they don't,
Yeah.
they don't. Like, we don't have to worry about it.
Well, we even the first couple of years just talked about, it's basically like a pop-up, like, yeah, just come set up whatever and do anything. And there was only like 20 people at first, 20 vendors, and there wasn't many people showed up, so it was fine. But then as we got along and the parking lot got insane and people started like putting tables on the common the night before to jockey for position, I was like, okay, well, it needs to be a little more organized.
Yeah.
I think we got a pretty good system now with the flags.
Yeah, definitely. There hasn't been any complaints. The only kind of complaint or thought was if we ever do get irrigation on the common, that we're not going to be able to drive up onto it, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I know that they didn't even put it before the town last year. They didn't think it was, in the budget to do that yet, but that's something we'll have to think about. How we'll deal with that. Because we just let people
Oh, the
drive
grass
up there.
looks great on Common all summer this year. It was a nice.
Well,
crisp
that's the
ground.
thing, that they were talking about putting irrigation, but I don't know, they're just.
That's
not
what every
happening.
lawn in town looked like, So, what's the point?
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, so at in our February meeting, we'll try to set that date for May, and then I guess I don't know, maybe we should, so for the August one, we typically do the week before the the Bolton Fair, and the week after. Maybe we should just do the week after, because the week before, there's like more people still away. I don't know what people think on that, but we could I mean, I guess that's further away.
I don't know. I would almost argue the week after if people go to Bolton Fair, they're just gonna be like, all right, I'm taking a weekend off.
Oh, that's true. Because the first one did seem to be the most heavily trafficked, because, you know, so maybe that's something we think about. Or maybe we just do September, I don't know. And then the final thing to decide is, do we really want to do one in December? I saw that a couple of the churches have like kind of craft fair type things, so I don't know if we'd be stealing their thunder at all. But theirs was like late November, so if we did ours like, you know, second week of December or something, you know, for like really focusing on Christmas, maybe that would
If
work.
there's interest in doing it with the tree lighting, then I mean that is a nice idea.
Yeah.
If there's a way to make that happen as like a day type event.
Yeah, it's just, it could be like, you know, really cold, but you know, I don't know, people would deal with it.
Yeah, but we have, you know, you have people giving out hot chocolate and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. We
From
make it in the
Massachusetts, we'll be
afternoon
fine.
instead of the morning, like you do it in the late afternoon, so it leads into the tree lighting kind of thing.
That
But
would be
being-
fun. Yeah.
So
And
being
doing
that, it-
kind of-
yeah,
I'd
so
have to
being
be
that
doing it,
it's,
like 21 hours, like doing that as like dusk is fast approaching, that could actually, you know, start the event right before dusk or a little bit before dusk, enough to get
Yeah.
your hot chocolate. And by the
Yeah.
time everyone gets their hot chocolate and socializes, the sun is already dark enough to make the lighting actually more impactful.
yeah, so
And then
that's,
for that too, they do like a rain like check event, like in case it rains, so we could just piggyback on that too and just say,
yeah,
rains, we're gonna move with the tree lighting, if the tree
Yeah.
lighting moves.
yep,
Also,
I c-
with their Trinity Church also has like a function hall, so I don't know if they would be willing to let us do it indoor if we wanted, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Sure. Yeah, and they've been wanting to do a lot more community outreach too.
mhm,
So they were up back here Bolton, so maybe
Makes
that would be
sense.
an option.
mhm.
Because actually the Emerson gym might be a little small if we got the same numbers. And the-
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like to walk over to the lighting, that would be, you know, Trinity would be perfect, because then you could
Yeah,
just park and
true,
walk
yeah,
over.
do it indoors and then right there, yeah,
Yeah,
yep, that's a good point.
I'd say for the like the ones in the summer, spacing them out, I think we could probably come up with excuses for every weekend of why it's not a good weekend between weather, vacation, that kind of stuff. Like my personal preference would be, let's make the weather like the primary decision factor, because I think that's, if it's comfortable weather, we're gonna get better, we're gonna get more vendors, we're gonna get more people. And whether that's, you know, September or May, I think that's a better option than doing it in July or August, where it's gonna be, we're guaranteed it's gonna be, you know, 85, 90
Yeah.
plus.
mhm.
I mean, so, yeah, tentatively, we could do May, early September, like that first weekend after Labor Day, which we compete with soccer, but
And
usually,
we've done
We
the
did
August
that one
one
already,
before.
because I've had to miss, I'm busy that weekend every year, and I've had
Which
to
one?
miss it.
Yeah, that's
And
why
I think that's our
I think
third week.
I think
Maybe-
September is a good idea.
if
Well,
we've done
we-
the three, just do, you know, the one in the May and then do one in August, whichever one we all think is best, and then
Yeah.
the one, after Labor Day.
Christmas one. The tree one.
or move it to
And the
Christmas,
tree
yeah.
one, Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, and I think the issue is just that they're too close and that we have three of them. I think if we
Yeah.
have one in August and one in September, that's probably fine. And if it's not, then we just change it the following year.
Definitely the when we end up with a back-to-back week, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
Yeah,
it's not good.
not good for us either, right? I mean, it's like,
And
I
it's
feel like-
it's miserable to plan, yeah, because it's like I just
Right.
wrap up the first one and it's like, oh my God, I gotta start doing this right away again.
right. We need a little break.
Yeah. Okay,
All
great.
right. I'm gonna
Um,
have to jump off because my son
uh,
is playing hockey at 8.
Okay, yeah, Craig has to jump off too. Let me just, oh,
1 second, I gotta mute myself right quick.
so
Anything
you
we need to
you guys
vote
can
on
jump on.
before? Anything we
What?
need to vote on before they jump, Eric?
Do we have
Yeah,
to what?
anything to vote on.
Anything left we need to vote on?
No, I don't think so. Todd's on the phone. Let's see if we can read his
What's left
lips.
on the agenda?
So we had business news discussion, which I think it was probably just, I don't know, there's a few, we'll see what he has to say. Discuss social media strategies for your business. We kind of discussed all this stuff, so we could probably just cut it. We probably don't have much more to say. I think
Yeah, I think the biggest thing's gonna be getting that master list, so.
Yeah, I think that should be our priority, maybe over the next month.
Yeah, and then the next meeting, lock down dates for these events, so then we all, and the meetings, I know, was it Larry that said we should
Yeah,
figure out the
Yeah,
meetings?
so let's set the date for our February meeting.
Yeah, let's do that right now.
And March, I guess, while we're doing it.
Yeah, and April, we'll do April too.
All right,
I mean, so the first Monday in February is the 6th. I don't know if any of these are holidays or anything, so maybe somebody could point them out. So maybe somebody write this down while looking at it. So February 6th. Oh, then March
We're gonna
6th.
stick to 7 PM for the
Yeah.
time.
Is that good for everybody?
It's fine.
February 6th, March 6th, and April 3rd. I don't know. I know,
yeah, I think that's fine.
That all sounds good to me.
No issues here.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so we'll set those dates. And I guess we'll wait for Todd to, if you guys need to leave. If Todd gets off the phone, we'll just see if he has any updates on business stuff for the remaining few of us, but
okay, thanks.
if you guys need to leave, go ahead. Oh, hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, apologies for that.
No,
folks.
it's fine. We read
She
your
was
lips.
hoping- She
We
was hoping
read
to
your
get my
lips.
voicemail, but she was disappointed when I actually picked up.
Yeah, we read your lips. We know everything.
Yeah, well, if you're interested.
No. So while you were talking, we just set the dates quick for the next 3 meetings.
Oh, great. Can you let me know what they are?
So February 6th, March 6th, and April 3rd.
And April 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, that helps me make the actual events on the website, so thank you.
And Craig and Amy have to leave. So I don't know if that, like, if we could keep talking or if that's kind of the end of the meeting.
That'll put you guys at from 5 to 3. You will
Yeah.
have a quorum, but it's kind of tenuous. It's up to you guys if
I
you
think
want
we're probably done anyway, right? Is there
Yeah.
anything-
more or
Did
less.
you have any business news updates at all, or?
Nothing solidified yet. There are rumblings for a possible indoor cannabis growing operation, but he's also looking to have like a part of that structure being used as a storage facility, which still needs to be kind
Is
of
this
worked
is
out.
Cobham
What's that?
58 Main Street?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I still have to talk about that and go over the zoning code with my zoning enforcement officer to see exactly where the lay of the land in terms of process is for that. But as of right now, it's still very much in the rough shapings. So I didn't bring it to you guys tonight because there's nothing finalized yet. There's no application on my desk for me to act upon. So for that, I just wanted to let you know that it's in rough stages now. It may be something we'd like to get behind and support. It may not. Once I get more specificity, I'll share. Okay.
Okay, so, and then we discussed social media strategies, which was on the agenda, I think, So anyway, yeah, we'll adjourn so people can go off and do what they need to do.
See you guys.
Who wants
All
to
right.
make? Someone's got to make the motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Anyone, second.
Very good. Roll call. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Take care,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
Peace.
right.
Have a good night, Kristen. Take care. Have a good night, Kristen.